All right, everybody. Now we're going to move on. Now that we've been talking about poetry a little bit, and we've had an opportunity to work with the Chinese female kung fu superheroes, now we're going to add in another element because we're kind of starting to finish up our multi-genre unit. And we did a little bit of work earlier this year with drama. So I want to talk today about comparing poetry to drama and making sure we look at how we can start putting genres together. So, to review some characteristics of poetry, we always want to consider the title. Sometimes the title really matters and sometimes it doesn't. But for this one, it kind of gives us the subject, right? It's a longer title, but it's going to let us know exactly what the focus is going to be for the rest of the piece. Then you want to look at figurative language and imagery. These are all the different types of characteristics that you can use to identify poetry. So for figurative language, in your example, we talked a little bit, especially in our annotations, about I believe it was the second stanza, and it said, "The metal of swords clang, the body moves with the precision of a praying mantis striking its prey." And we talked a little bit about what was going on in that image. Some of us talked about a metaphorical connection, how the praying mantis is a symbol, things like that. So for imagery, there's always going to be some sort of image. Their dresses are colorful, long and lacy, billow and flare with each turn and twist. So that talks a little bit about what they look like or what they wear. And then, of course, the patterns in the stanzas. So, is it all one piece of text? A lot of the time, stanzas will be like those little mini paragraphs. Sometimes they'll take a shape, but you always want to find patterns in that. And then shifts as well, kind of what we talked about yesterday. And that'll give you clues to kind of meaning or themes. So, these are some of the major characteristics of poetry that you want to look at when comparing genres. And then for drama, I'm going to ask you to recall the two videos we looked at when we did our superheroes unit. And the first video was the Batman cartoon show, right? It wasn't really a cartoon, actually. It was kind of one of the 1960s versions. It was really silly, and they had really interesting costumes. And then the other one was from The Dark Knight, where it was a lot more serious and like psychological. But both of them have these same characteristics, right? They both have dialogue. And that helps us get to know a little bit more about the characters. And we have stage directions where we don't necessarily see them, but it's really important for the actors. And that gives us more information about the setting or think about the occasion and the relationships between the characters, like thinking about plot. And then you have lighting, visuals, and sound. So for these two, listening to the action and the fight scenes was really important, right? The tone of voice between the Joker and Batman, the camera angles, right? They were just kind of basic in the 1960s version for a lot of different reasons, versus the one in The Dark Knight. Even like the lighting, right? It's like a darker room and the light is just kind of on them too. It's like really close up to their faces. And it really helps us to identify what's important, helps us to focus. And the same thing in poetry, right? Like in just a different way. They'll use more of like figurative language to do that kind of focus. And then listening to the dialogue helps us identify like the tone of voice. Are they happy? Are they angry? Are they being silly? Are they laughing? So these would be characteristics of drama. So when we put them together, the first thing you want to do is think about what both genres have in common about superheroes. So both of them are really talking about maybe what contributions that superheroes make, right? Like they fight the bad guys. It could also talk about how they are skilled or how they do good deeds for other people. What's the common ground? And then think about like how the characteristics play into that. So if the whole thing is about fighting bad guys, right? Is it the imagery maybe in the poem and maybe the lighting or the camera angles in the drama that show that? And then you want to think about what's important or meaningful about what they have in common. So not only where they kind of share some similar things, but then you want to think again, how do their characteristics of each genre prove that? And you're going to be asked to do that in today's assignment. Okay, so hopefully this gives you a little bit of a refresher on different characteristics of drama and poetry, so that way you'll be able to do the assignment more accurately. All right, thanks for watching today, guys. Take care.